Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, where small change can hide big surprises, and today we are diving deep into one of the most overlooked yet fascinating coins in American history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1962, a coin that millions of people have handled, spent, and ignored. Yet few truly understand the hidden value and collector demand that surround certain examples of this classic penny. The 1962 Lincoln cent was born during a powerful era in American history, a time of optimism, change, and global influence, when the United States was expanding economically and culturally, and everyday coins like this penny quietly passed through countless hands, witnessing daily life, major events, and personal stories that now make them tiny metal time capsules of the past. This penny was struck during the early years of the space race and the Cold War, when American pride was strong and confidence in the future was everywhere, and although the coin itself seemed ordinary, it carried the weight of a nation moving forward, making it historically meaningful beyond its simple 1-cent face value. On the front of the coin, the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln stands strong and dignified, a design that had already become deeply respected by this time, representing unity, leadership, and perseverance. And when you examine the details closely, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the lettering, and the smoothness of the fields all play a huge role in determining whether this penny is just common change or something far more special. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat ears design, a symbol of American agriculture, prosperity, and self-sufficiency, and by 1962 this design was already approaching the end of its long run, which adds another layer of importance for collectors who appreciate coins from the final years of an era. Most 1962 Lincoln pennies were heavily circulated, tossed into jars, drawers, and pockets, exposed to scratches, dirt, and wear over decades, which is exactly why finding one today with clean surfaces, full original color, and sharp details instantly raises collector interest and excitement. Condition is everything when it comes to this penny, because while millions were minted, very few survived in high grade, untouched by circulation, and collectors are always willing to pay premiums for coins that look as fresh as the day they left the mint, especially when the copper surfaces still glow with original brilliance, adding even more excitement. Some 1962 Lincoln cents exist with subtle minting errors or striking variations, such as off-center strikes, double details, or unusual surface characteristics, and these unique flaws transform an already collectible coin into a true numismatic treasure that stands out from the crowd. Collectors love these pennies not just for their age, but for their connection to American history, their classic design, and the thrill of discovering a rare example hiding among ordinary coins, making this penny a favorite target for both beginner collectors and seasoned experts alike. This is why it is always worth taking a closer look at any 1962 Lincoln penny you come across, checking the sharpness of the details, the color of the copper, and the overall condition, because one small difference can mean the jump from pocket change to serious collector value. Now comes the moment that makes hearts race and eyes widen, because a 1962 Lincoln penny in exceptional uncirculated condition, or one featuring a genuine mint error, has been known to reach values as high as $50,000. Today we are shining the spotlight on a truly classic piece of American currency, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1963, a coin that looks simple at first glance but carries deep history, strong collector interest, and surprising value potential. The 1963 Lincoln penny was minted during a powerful and emotional period in American history, a time marked by rapid change, national pride, and unforgettable moments that shaped the country forever. And this small copper coin quietly circulated through grocery stores, gas stations, and pockets while history unfolded all around it. This penny comes from the final chapter of the wheat reverse era, making it especially meaningful to collectors who appreciate coins from transitional periods, because just 1 year later the design would change, turning the 1963 issue into one of the last representatives of a beloved and iconic style. When you look closely at the front of the coin, you see the familiar and respected portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of unity, leadership, and resilience, and on high-quality examples the details of Lincoln's hair, facial features, and lettering appear sharp and bold, instantly separating valuable pieces from heavily worn ones. The reverse side displays the classic wheat ears design, representing abundance, strength, and American agricultural heritage, and the way these wheat stalks appear, whether strong and well-defined or weak and faded, plays a huge role in determining the collector appeal and potential worth of the coin. Most 1963 Lincoln pennies were used heavily in everyday commerce, meaning many were scratched, darkened, or damaged over time, which is exactly why collectors today are eager to find examples that escaped circulation and still retain smooth surfaces and original copper color. Condition is the key factor that transforms this penny from common change into a serious collectible. Because coins that remain uncirculated show incredible detail, natural shine, and clean fields that collectors are willing to pay strong premiums for, adding to the excitement. Certain 1963 pennies exist with minting irregularities such as double details, misaligned strikes, or unusual textures, and these errors are highly prized because they create unique coins that cannot be replicated. Collectors are drawn to this penny not just because of its age, but because it represents the closing moments of a historic design, making it a must-have for anyone building a complete Lincoln cent collection. This is why checking your old coin jars, inherited collections, or even rolls from the bank can be thrilling, because one small copper coin could be hiding a story, history, and value far beyond its 1 cent face value. Now for the part that makes this coin truly exciting. Because a 1963 Lincoln penny in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare and verified mint error, has reached values of up to $45,000. Today we are taking a deep dive into a penny that almost everyone has seen but very few truly understand, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1964, a small copper coin that quietly carries history, emotion, and surprising collector potential. The 1964 Lincoln penny was struck during one of the most dramatic and memorable years in American history, a time filled with national change, strong emotions, and major cultural moments. And while headlines were being made and the country was moving forward, this humble penny was circulating from hand to hand, witnessing everyday life across the nation. This year holds special meaning for collectors because it represents the final full year before major changes in American coinage composition began to take shape, making the 1964 penny an important marker between traditional copper coins and the shifting future of U.S. currency. On the front of the coin, the familiar and respected image of Abraham Lincoln appears strong and timeless, symbolizing unity, freedom, and perseverance, and when viewed under close inspection, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the clarity of the date, and the smoothness of the fields reveal whether a coin is ordinary or something far more desirable. The reverse side continues the classic wheat ears design, a powerful symbol of American strength and productivity, and by 1964 this design had already earned legendary status among collectors, making any well-preserved example instantly appealing. Because these pennies were produced in massive numbers and used heavily in everyday transactions, most surviving examples show signs of wear, scratches, and dull surfaces, which is exactly why finding one today with bright original color and crisp details creates excitement in the collector community. Condition plays a massive role in determining value, because an uncirculated 1964 Lincoln penny can look dramatically different from one that spent decades in circulation, and collectors are always willing to pay a premium for coins that appear untouched by time. Adding even more intrigue, certain 1964 pennies feature minting anomalies such as doubled features, off-center strikes, or unusual textures, and these rare errors instantly elevate the coin into a high-demand collectible that stands out from standard issues. Collectors love this penny not only for its potential value, but for the powerful history it represents, connecting everyday Americans to a transformative moment in the nation's story through a simple 1-cent coin. This is why checking old piggy banks, inherited coin collections, or even loose change can be an exciting experience, because that ordinary-looking penny could be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Now for the moment that captures everyone's attention, because a 1964 Lincoln penny in outstanding uncirculated condition, especially one with a verified mint error, has achieved values as high as $35,000. Today we are uncovering the story behind a penny that marked a turning point in American coinage, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1965, a coin that may look ordinary but carries powerful history and exciting collector potential. The 1965 Lincoln penny was minted during a time of major transformation in the United States. A period when the nation was adjusting to economic pressure, rising metal costs, and changes in how coins were produced. And while the country was adapting to a new era, this penny quietly entered circulation and became part of daily American life. This year is especially important because 1965 marked the beginning of big changes in U.S. coinage, with composition and minting practices shifting to meet national demands, and even though the penny remained copper-based, it represents a bridge between the old traditional coinage system and a modernized future. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait stands proud and familiar, symbolizing strength, leadership, and unity during uncertain times, and collectors closely examine the sharpness of Lincoln's facial features, the clarity of the date, and the smoothness of the surface to determine whether a coin holds extra value. The reverse side continues the classic wheat ears design, a beloved image that represents American growth and resilience. And by 1965 this design had already earned legendary status, making every surviving example a reminder of a proud chapter in U.S. coin history. Because these pennies were produced in enormous quantities and circulated heavily, most examples today are worn, scratched, or darkened by decades of use, which is exactly why collectors get excited when they encounter one with bright surfaces, clean fields, and strong original detail. Condition plays a massive role in the value of the 1965 Lincoln penny, because uncirculated examples stand out dramatically compared to their circulated counterparts, and coins that look nearly brand new can command serious attention in the collector market. Adding even more excitement, certain 1965 pennies exist with rare minting errors, including double details, off-center strikes, and striking anomalies. And these unusual features turn an ordinary penny into a one-of-a-kind collectible that serious collectors aggressively pursue. What makes this penny especially fascinating is how many people still overlook it, allowing rare high-grade or error examples to hide in plain sight inside jars, drawers, and old collections, waiting for someone to recognize their true importance. This is why taking a closer look at your change can be thrilling, because the difference between a common penny and a valuable one often comes down to small details that most people never notice. Now for the moment that truly captures attention, because a 1965 Lincoln penny in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one featuring a confirmed mint error, has reached values as high as $20,000. Today we are uncovering the hidden side of a penny that many people still overlook, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1966, a coin that quietly reflects change, history, and surprising collector interest. The 1966 Lincoln penny was struck during a period of adjustment and uncertainty in the United States, when rising metal prices and economic pressure were forcing the nation to rethink how its coins were produced. And while these changes were happening behind the scenes, this penny continued to circulate through millions of hands across the country. This year is especially interesting because 1966 came during the era when mint marks were temporarily removed from U.S. coins, making every penny from this year look the same regardless of where it was struck. And this unusual decision gives the 1966 penny a unique identity in American coinage history. On the front of the coin, the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln appears calm and dignified, symbolizing unity and endurance during a time of transition, and collectors carefully study the sharpness of Lincoln's features, the boldness of the date, and the smoothness of the fields to judge whether a coin is ordinary or truly collectible. The reverse side displays the classic Lincoln memorial design, a powerful symbol of respect and remembrance, and the clarity of the steps, columns, and lettering plays a huge role in determining the coin's condition and overall appeal to collectors. Because these pennies were minted in massive quantities and spent heavily, most surviving examples show significant wear, surface marks, and discoloration, which is why finding one today with original luster, clean surfaces, and sharp detail creates real excitement among collectors. Condition is the defining factor when it comes to the value of the 1966 Lincoln penny, because an uncirculated example can look dramatically different from one that has spent decades in circulation, and collectors are always searching for coins that appear untouched by time. Adding even more intrigue, certain 1966 pennies exist with minting errors such as doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet issues, and these rare flaws instantly transform a common coin into a high-demand collectible. What makes this penny especially fascinating is how easily valuable examples can go unnoticed. sitting quietly in old jars, rolls, or inherited collections, waiting for someone with a trained eye to recognize their significance. This is why taking the time to carefully examine your pennies can be incredibly rewarding, because the smallest detail can separate a common coin from a remarkable discovery. Now for the moment everyone waits for, because a 1966 Lincoln penny in outstanding uncirculated condition, particularly one with a confirmed mint error, has been known to reach values of up to $15,000. Today we are diving into a penny that belongs to a very unique chapter in American coinage, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1967, a coin that many people still overlook but one that carries real history and exciting collector potential. The 1967 Lincoln penny was produced during a time when the United States was facing rising production costs and major adjustments in the minting system, and to manage these challenges the U.S. Mint made unusual decisions that forever set coins from this era apart, making this penny an important symbol of change and adaptation. One of the most interesting things about the 1967 penny is that it was struck during the period when mint marks were intentionally removed, meaning every penny from this year looks identical regardless of where it was made, and this unusual feature gives the coin a distinctive identity that collectors find fascinating. On the front of the coin, the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln stands strong and familiar, representing unity, leadership, and resilience during uncertain times, and collectors carefully examine the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, face, and lettering to determine whether a coin has survived in collectible condition. The reverse side shows the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design that honors history and remembrance, and the clarity of the columns, the steps, and the fine details can instantly reveal whether a penny has been worn down by decades of circulation or preserved with care. Because these pennies were minted in enormous numbers and circulated heavily, most examples today show wear, dull surfaces, and contact marks, which is exactly why high-quality examples are becoming harder to find and more desirable among collectors. Condition plays a huge role in the value of the 1967 Lincoln penny, because an uncirculated piece with original luster and crisp detail stands out dramatically from the countless worn examples still found in everyday change. Adding to the excitement, some 1967 pennies were struck with minting errors such as doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or unusual metal flaws, and these rare mistakes transform an ordinary penny into a unique collectible that serious collectors eagerly seek. What makes this penny especially exciting is that many people still don't realize its potential, allowing rare high-grade or error examples to hide in coin jars, drawers, and old collections, waiting to be discovered by someone with a sharp eye. This is why checking your spare change and old coin stashes can be so thrilling, because one small penny could hold history, rarity, and surprising value all at once. Now for the moment everyone has been waiting for, because a 1967 Lincoln penny in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one with a verified mint error, has reached values as high as $12,000. Today we are stepping into a fascinating moment in American coin history by exploring the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1968, a penny that quietly marked a return to tradition and holds surprising appeal for collectors today. The 1968 Lincoln penny was struck during a year of major change and reflection in the United States, a time when the nation was experiencing cultural shifts, economic challenges, and important adjustments in how its money was produced, and this humble penny circulated through daily life while history unfolded all around it. One of the most important things about the 1968 penny is that it marked the return of mint marks after several years of absence, making this coin especially interesting to collectors who appreciate clear distinctions and historical milestones in U.S. coinage. On the front of the coin, the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln appears confident and timeless, symbolizing strength, leadership, and unity, and collectors carefully study the clarity of Lincoln's features, the sharpness of the date, and the overall surface quality to determine whether a penny is common or truly special. The reverse side displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a powerful tribute to American history, and the sharpness of the columns, steps, and lettering plays a huge role in the visual appeal and collectible quality of the coin, because these pennies were produced in massive quantities and used heavily in everyday transactions. Most surviving examples show signs of wear, contact marks, and surface dullness, which is exactly why high-grade pieces are becoming increasingly desirable among collectors. condition is the key factor that separates an ordinary 1968 penny from a valuable one. Because uncirculated examples with original luster and crisp details are far scarcer than many people realize, adding even more excitement, some 1968 Lincoln pennies feature minting errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet flaws, and these rare mistakes dramatically increase collector interest and value. What makes this penny especially thrilling is how often it is overlooked, allowing rare examples to remain hidden in old coin rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. This is why taking a closer look at your spare change can be so rewarding, because even a penny from 1968 could hold unexpected history and value. Now for the moment that truly surprises many people, because a 1968 Lincoln penny in outstanding uncirculated condition, particularly one with a confirmed mint error, has reached values of up to $10,000. Today we are uncovering one of the most talked about years in modern Lincoln cent history, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1969, a coin that looks ordinary but can be absolutely legendary in the collector world. The 1969 Lincoln penny was struck during a time of intense change in America, a year filled with cultural shifts, historic moments, and bold new directions. And while the nation was focused on progress and the future, this small copper coin quietly entered circulation, carrying history in every detail. What makes the 1969 penny especially fascinating is that it comes from the early years of the Lincoln Memorial design era, with mint marks clearly present again, creating distinct varieties that collectors pay very close attention to, especially when it comes to sharp details and strike quality. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's portrait stands firm and dignified, representing leadership and unity during a rapidly changing era, and collectors carefully inspect the date, the lettering, and the overall sharpness of Lincoln's features to separate common examples from highly desirable ones. The reverse side features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, and for serious collectors the clarity of the steps, the strength of the columns, and the crispness of the lettering are crucial. Because these details quickly fade on heavily circulated coins, most 1969 pennies were used extensively in everyday transactions, which means the majority of surviving examples show wear, scratches, and dull copper surfaces, making high-grade pieces increasingly difficult to find today. Condition plays a massive role in determining the value of this penny, because uncirculated examples with full original luster and sharp details are far scarcer than people expect, and collectors are willing to pay strong premiums for these exceptional coins. Adding to the excitement, the 1969 Lincoln penny is famous for rare minting errors, particularly dramatic double die varieties that show strong doubling on the date and lettering, and these error coins are among the most sought after modern pennies ever produced. These rare error examples have become legendary in the numismatic world, often making headlines and creating excitement whenever one appears on the market, proving that even a modern-looking penny can be a serious treasure. This is why checking your coins carefully is so important, because a small difference in lettering or alignment can mean the difference between an ordinary penny and a life-changing discovery. Now for the moment everyone waits for, because a genuine 1969 Lincoln penny with the famous double die error in top condition has sold for as much as $100,000. Today we are taking a closer look at a coin many people still underestimate, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1978, a modern-era penny that quietly carries collector interest, hidden varieties, and exciting value potential. The 1978 Lincoln penny was minted during a time when America was moving through economic challenges and cultural change, and while the nation focused on inflation, innovation, and everyday life, this small copper coin passed through countless hands without anyone imagining it might one day be worth serious money. This penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial era, a design that had become deeply familiar to Americans by the late 1970s, yet collectors know that familiarity does not mean lack of value, especially when condition, strike quality, and minting anomalies come into play. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears calm and timeless, representing leadership and stability. And collectors carefully examine the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the date, and the strength of the lettering to determine whether a coin is common or exceptional. The reverse side features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, and here the smallest details matter, because strong columns, visible steps, and clean lettering dramatically increase collector appeal compared to worn or weakly struck examples. Most 1978 pennies were heavily circulated, dropped into registers, jars, and pockets, exposed to scratches and wear over decades, which is exactly why finding one today with full original luster and clean surfaces creates excitement among collectors. Condition is the true key to value with this penny, because uncirculated examples stand out immediately, showing bright copper color, sharp design elements, and a fresh look that collectors are always searching for, adding even more intrigue. Certain 1978 Lincoln pennies are known with minting errors such as double details, off-center strikes, or planchet issues, and these rare mistakes instantly elevate a simple penny into a highly collectible piece. Collectors love error coins because they are unpredictable and unique, and when a modern penny like this shows a clear and dramatic error, demand can rise quickly among specialists and investors alike. What makes this penny especially exciting is how easily valuable examples can remain hidden, sitting unnoticed in old rolls, forgotten collections, or everyday change, simply waiting for someone who knows what to look for. This is why checking your pennies carefully can be surprisingly rewarding, because one small detail can turn a 1-cent coin into something far more meaningful and valuable. Now for the moment that brings it all together, because a 1978 Lincoln penny in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one featuring a strong and verified mint error, has reached values as high as $5,000. Today we are diving deep into a penny that many people still overlook, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1980, a coin that may seem ordinary but carries both history and collector excitement that could surprise you. The 1980 Lincoln penny was minted during a period when the United States was navigating economic change, rising production costs, and a rapidly evolving coinage system. And while Americans were living their daily lives, this humble penny quietly passed through pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, becoming a silent witness to an era of transition and growth. What makes the 1980 penny especially interesting is that it belongs to the Lincoln Memorial design era, a design that had been in circulation for decades but had already gained legendary status among collectors, and even though millions were produced, subtle details and condition differences make certain examples highly sought after in the numismatic world. On the front of the coin, the familiar and iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln stands dignified and timeless, symbolizing unity, leadership, and perseverance during a time of change, and collectors look carefully at the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the date, and the precision of the lettering to determine whether a coin is ordinary or exceptional. The reverse side displays the classic Lincoln Memorial design, with columns, steps, and fine details that are often worn down over decades of circulation, and uncirculated coins with crisp, clean details immediately catch the eye of collectors because they are rare and visually striking. Most 1980 pennies were heavily circulated, meaning that scratches, wear, and dull surfaces are common, which is exactly why high-grade examples with full original luster and smooth fields are incredibly desirable and can command strong collector interest. Condition plays a major role in determining value because uncirculated examples can look dramatically different from coins that have spent decades in pockets or coin rolls, and collectors are always searching for pieces that appear untouched by time, adding to the excitement. Some 1980 pennies are known with minting errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet flaws, and these rare variations instantly elevate a simple penny into a collectible treasure that can attract attention from serious collectors around the world. What makes this penny even more thrilling is that many of these high-value or error examples remain hidden in jars, drawers, or old collections, simply waiting for someone with a trained eye to discover them, proving that even modern coins can hold incredible value. This is why examining your pennies carefully can be so rewarding, because the difference between an ordinary coin and a high-value collectible often comes down to a small detail that most people overlook. Now for the moment everyone has been waiting for. Because a 1980 Lincoln penny in pristine uncirculated condition, especially one with a verified mint error, has reached values as high as $4,000.